to you tonight, again, to do the members and the people's work. In Colossians 3:23, it talks about serving diligently. It is my hope that each and every one of us here tonight intend to do just that and bear the load that is referred to in Galatians and in Luke, to honor that and serve with accountability. As always, keep under your wing our first responders and our military, and help this be a productive meeting with the right intent for the right reasons. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Director Ingram, would you lead us in the pledge?
Certainly. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty, thank you all for being here. I'd like to announce we've got a quorum. We've got all 7 of our board members here, so that's awesome. Audio and video recorders are in use, and I don't see any members here, but if anybody did want to address the board, they would fill out the member sign-up sheet. We're going to go right into our business of the evening, and that is the election of our officers, or at least the first order of business. We have President, Vice President, and Secretary Treasurer. Don has made a suggestion that those positions be split. I thought maybe we would discuss that when we get to that position. Is that okay?
Yep.
All right. So first off, we'll look for nominations for president.
I nominate Mark Miller as president.
I nominate Ken Ingram for president.
Okay. First of all, I will accept the nomination, and then,
I'll accept the nomination.
okay. Are there any other nominations for president? None? I think it might be appropriate, since there are 2 people interested in being president, to give Ken and myself an opportunity to say a couple of words before we call the vote. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yep.
Do you want to lead off, or you want me to lead off?
Go ahead.
I just say the role of the president is to, lead the board. It's not to try to, run things himself. A president is just 1 out of 7 board members, and I think it is important to have a president that has experience on the board. I think that's valuable, and I did serve as president prior to David Crumley, and I had a good working relationship with Jeff. The president is a liaison between the board of directors and the CEO, and so I think it's important to have someone with experience that can be that liaison between the board and the CEO. So that's my pitch for myself.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been in business for 45 years, worked for several large corporations. I understand the way a board should run, and I understand completely the relationship between the board and the president of the board. As I understand it, in this situation, it is to oversee the board meetings primarily and be the liaison with management. Having been on a board and the president of the board for the HOA that I was involved with for over 10 years in Georgia, I think I'm fully qualified for that position.
Thank you, Ken. All right, so we'll go ahead and call the vote. We need to do a roll call vote, so we'll start at the left. Stephanie, Director Lindsay, if you'd like to say who you want to vote for, and then we'll go down the line.
I'd like to vote for Ken Ingram for that position.
Okay.
Ken Ingram.
Okay.
Ken Ingram.
Ken?
Okay. I'll vote for myself.
Mark.
Yeah.
I vote for Mark as well.
Okay, so for 4-3, the Ken Ingram will be the president of our board. And so I'm going to pass the gavel over to you, and put that.
Thank you, Mark.
All right, you're in charge.
So next on the new business is check signers, or
No.
Well, we're gonna do the other
Sorry.
two officers.
I'll keep going, vice president then. Do we have a nominee for vice president?
I'd like to nominate Mark Miller, if he would accept.
I will accept the nomination, but I'm going to nominate Pam Hardy.
So we got 2 nominations, right?
Did you accept, Pam?
I accept, yes.
Okay. So another roll call vote?
Mark Miller.
Mark Miller?
Mark Miller?
Mark?
Pam?
Me?
I guess it doesn't matter who I vote for at this point. I'll vote for Mark.
Okay. All right, so 5-2 then?
So, Mr. Miller, you are now the vice president.
Okay.
And then we had a motion, or we had an idea to separate the secretary and treasurer. I see that that was done in the past. Don, do you want to walk us through that?
Well, we did, it has been done in the past, as you mentioned. I just see them as 2 different roles. Share the wealth, if you will, for no other reason, 2 different roles. Let's get 2 different people doing them. Do we need a motion to make that happen? To split it?
I think it'd be nice, yeah.
Okay, then I make a motion that we split the secretary and treasurer role
Wait a minute.
for this year.
Yeah. At this point, I don't think that there's enough to separate it. There's not much to being secretary or treasurer, and I know that normally that they do. Secretary is mainly for the minutes and everything, and then the treasurer oversees the financial. But in this situation, we pretty much have a stenographer, we've got all this other stuff, so there's not really much role with the secretary. Now, I do know that Carmen a lot of times goes through and she kind of critiques the minutes and different things, but I don't think that there's really that much. I think that it could stay the way it is.
Mr. President, if I could step in here just a minute. There was a motion on the table. I did not hear a second. We would have a second before we had discussion. I just wanted to make sure that there was a second.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Ms. Carmen. Now discussion.
Okay.
I think-
You don't have to repeat what you
Yeah,
said.
okay, I think that's right.
Any other discussion?
I see pros and cons to doing it. I kind of agree with Pam that there's not a whole lot to do in that position, but they are distinctive duties. I see Don's point too, so I'm kind of on the fence with it. I don't see that it would hurt to have 2 people in the position.
No, I agree. In reviewing the articles and the bylaws, it appears that the very first board did that as well, right? So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed? The motion carries. Do we have a nomination then for the secretary?
I'll nominate Carmen Reynolds as secretary.
Carmen, would you accept the nomination?
I will accept the nomination because I think this allows more focus on each respective duty.
Any other nominations? Can we have a vote? All those in favor of Carmen?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Carmen's the secretary. We have a nomination for the treasurer.
I nominate Don Linnell.
Don, would
If
you
he
accept?
will accept it.
I'll accept it.
Okay, do we have any other nominations? Can we have a vote? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Don's the treasurer. Okay, now we move to check signers.
Or subcommittees, is it?
No, check signers.
Yeah, I think we want to
All right.
remove the current ones and add the new ones.
We need to remove David Crumley as a check signer, that's a given. The question is, who has the ability to come by and sign checks, in their schedule.
I thought it was the president and the treasurer is what we're going for there.
Historically, we had.
I would say
President.
historically, but I mean, to Mark's point, I would agree. It's nice that they're close, and I know Ken and I are both 10 minutes away.
Do we need a motion for that?
We need to remove,
Oh, yeah. I
yeah,
can
remove the two and add those two.
So I'll make a motion that we remove David Crumley and Pam Hardy from the HNWS check signers and add Ken Ingram and myself, Don Linnell.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right.
If you'll read who it's going to be.
So check signers will be Jeff Krigler, Clinton Wells, Ken Ingram, Don Linnell. We have the pension 401 trustees. Turner, Pam, Hardy, Mike Matthews. Need a motion?
Do we nominate or make a motion?
We
So,
have to remove Mike, right?
yes, I'll make a motion that we remove Mike Matthews as trustees on the pension 401K and add Ken Ingram.
Second.
Okay.
So if I did it right, it's Pam and Ken. Does that, everybody jive with that?
We have a motion. We have a second. Do we have a vote? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Now for subcommittees. Committee
Clarify.
Pension 401K trustees will be Pam Hardy and Ken Ingram. All right, now for our subcommittees, we have a Finance Chair Committee. Currently Pam Hardy. Do we have a motion on that?
Traditionally, that's been treasurer. Do
I
we need a
agree, that could
motion
be
for
the
that?
treasurer, correct.
Okay. Do we need a motion for it, or?
Well, we separated those roles, and to me, it only makes sense that the treasurer would be the finance
Okay.
chair. So.
So we have a motion for, do we have a motion for Don?
For anybody.
Okay. Okay.
It doesn't have to be Don.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that Don Linnell be the finance chair for that committee, if he will accept that.
I will.
We have a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, then we'll have a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So the committee finance chair will be Don Linnell. Next is capital improvements.
Make a motion to appoint Stephanie Lindsay as the CIP.
I'll accept.
We have a second.
I'll second, but could we put a slash by that and say capital improvement / grants?
Slash what?
/ grants, to look into grants, grant opportunities while reviewing capital improvements. And I'd be willing to help with that with Stephanie in the lead, since she has more experience at the larger grant levels with federal grants, FDOT grants, FDEP grants, things of that
You want
nature.
to do grants?
But isn't that
So that's
more
a
of a
separate
role
motion.
for a employee?
Does the board
Not-
get involved in?
Yeah.
I know the water system is going to be hiring a part-time grant writer.
Yeah.
But until then, what is the plan?
I don't think the board should be in a position for that. That's someone that would work for the company itself would
Yeah.
be.
That's not our role as a board member.
And capital improvements and grants are really two separate things. They're capital improvements, really don't have anything to do with grants. So, I mean, if we wanted a board representative to look into grants, we could have a separate position for that, but
They would be doing just what this person would be doing, which would be overseeing someone that actually does that, not doing it. That's what my thought process is.
I think Jeff needs to be overseeing the grant writer. We should be going through Jeff, to convey what grants we want to try to go for, and then he gives direction to the grant writer that hopefully will be on board soon.
Okay,
So it sounds like we had a second with a modification, so does that mean we need to have,
Second with the mod.
yeah, so,
Stephanie said she would do it.
Have y'all
So-
read the, our book,
Handbook.
handbook? Have y'all read our handbook, what our roles are as a board member?
Yes, we have.
Okay. Well, I don't think that falls underneath that.
so let me get this straight. We shouldn't be looking at ways to garner, leverage any grants from this board to offset needs or expenditures for the water system. We shouldn't be looking for that. Is that beyond our role, Pam Hardy?
Yes, you are correct.
I think it's
So
any of us,
I wouldn't-
any of the board members should be always looking for opportunities and bringing those to the board's attention, and then the board gives direction to Jeff to say, get our lobbyist involved and get our grant writer involved in pursuing this, but.
Well, therein lies the rub. Get our grant writer involved. We have just been through 2 machinations of budget workshops, and we didn't really see a line item for a grant writer, and how long is it going to take to get the incumbent into that position? And what do we do in the meantime?
Same thing you're doing now. If you see something that makes sense, let Jeff know.
Bring it to
And let
Jeff's
the
attention.
employees
because-
Yeah,
Someone
Jeff, can you
else
give us
is
some
involved.
Is Stephanie
insight?
going to actually write the grant? I mean, I
So
don't
we're
understand what the
going-
role of that would
I
be.
mean, yeah, I would offer this, let's kind of look big picture. What's the purpose of these committees? It's to take a certain part of what we do daily, allow one board member to drill down, learn some more, provide feedback to the board. So in theory, you could have a customer service committee that listens to those issues, comes and report. I'm not saying we need that, but these are just a forum for the board to drill down on certain different parts of what the company does. There's no real power or anything. You're just reporting back to the board. So adding something that doesn't, it just needs to make sense. I don't know that it wouldn't help.
well, I'll ask the question, guys, based upon that description that you gave.
Or what I perceive those committees to be. That's what I perceive
That's
them to
actually a good
be.
description, I appreciate that. So we could almost ask the question, are any of these committees necessary?
Well, yeah, and the
And
flip
how
side
do
is,
how do we determine which of the functions of the water system we feel a committee is necessary for, right?
that's a good question too.
And certainly I understand what Carmen is saying, that capital improvements and the ability to fund those capital improvements are closely tied together. If we have a new function that we're bringing on board going after grants, it almost sounds like we should have the ability to tie specific capital improvements to specific grants that we're going to try to get.
What would be her
My
position with grants? What would she do as far as the grants go? Are you saying that she's going to go out and look for the grants?
I would say she would be the liaison for what's happening with grants and drill down into that, the same way that we're asking her to drill down into what capital improvements we should be working on.
Okay, and what grants are you specifically talking about?
So
Actually, at this point, I would not specifically talk about any of them any more than I would
Okay.
specifically talk about a capital improvement, right?
Okay.
But in her capacity, I would hope that we have people up here on this board that have knowledge, skills, and abilities that they're bringing to the table. And my understanding of her background, having worked for the city of Gulf Breeze and identified grants that were beneficial to them, millions and millions of dollars, that she has the capability to find those for this water system, identify them to the CEO and the board and see whether they want to avail themselves of those. She has, as I stated, requisite experience at a much higher level with grants than I do, and to kick that to the curb and not take advantage of it.
No one is
really
saying
short-sighted.
that we're going to kick that to the curb. We're just saying that doesn't need to be a position of the board. We've already said we welcome that. Everyone on this board should be looking at that if they have the opportunity or the ability to do that. But that's not, you're making it sound more like a job that would be someone actually working for the water board or for the water department, not on the board of directors. Our job is to oversee the people that run the water system and help them make wise decisions. And if they're making bad decisions, to say, hey, we don't agree with that, not to actually do the job of the water system.
So with your example, Mr. Lowe, you are insinuating that I should not take my free time, my volunteer of my own volition, my free time to work with the fire department and the director of public safety to identify grants to
I said nothing of the sort.
expand water lines and get hydrants so that we can save lives and property in this district.
Didn't say anything of the sort.
You said we shouldn't employ ourselves and do any type of jobs.
Exactly, that's exactly what I
It's merely
said.
an advisory role.
Correct, and that's exactly
Okay.
what you're doing is an advisory role, that's fine. You don't have a specific position with the fire department as their grant finder, correct? That's what you're asking us to do here as a board, is to have a specific position on this board as a grant finder, when that is a job that someone in the water department would have, not on the board of directors.
So what I think I heard was a motion, an acceptance, and then a modification to that motion. But as I understand it, we would have to have
The
the
person
motion
that made the
restated.
motion did not modify the
No,
motion.
the second would. So if we were to consider the modification, it would have to be restated under the original.
I withdraw the modification to my motion, even though I think we're being very short-sighted, and I will restate my motion to second having Ms. Lindsay be the committee person for capital improvements.
Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second. We have a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yay. No.
One. So for capital improvements, we will have Stephanie Lindsay. And we have budget, O&M. Do we have any motion there?
I'd like to nominate Pam Hardy for that.
We have a second.
Make a motion for Pam Hardy.
We have a second?
Second.
So you wanted to do it, because I was going to recommend Mark. Does he not want to do it? Does Pam want to do it?
Yes.
And Mark,
I made the motion for Pam, so,
Are you making a motion for Mark?
well,
yeah,
we
the
can't,
question was,
I'm not interested in doing it.
okay, that's
Okay.
the answer.
Pam would accept.
Yes.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Budget O&M will be Pam Hardy. Santa Rosa Regional Reuse Project. And I note that we have a discuss discontinuing. Do we want to discuss that before we move forward?
Yeah, I wanted to say a few words about that.
Certainly, go ahead.
So this particular committee was started really at the beginning of this project when there was a lot more, maybe board oversight and things to discuss, getting the project moving, getting the project awarded, getting it going. We are now nearing the end of construction. I'm certainly willing to keep this going until we completely have a ribbon cutting or whatever we would like to do. But I'm just pointing out that we're very near the end of this project, and the the value of this committee may be slightly kind of, past its time. I'd also add that we're looking at adding another board liaison tonight in the form of a benefits committee. So kind of in a follow-on to my comments from earlier, I think these are great. Too many, probably not too good. You want the right number. And, so let's just keep that in mind. But I'm fine either way on this one.
On the current, are you saying this one is OBE once Eglin is open?
Say that again?
Are you saying this committee or the project committee would be obsolete once Eglin starts working?
In my mind, it would be, because then it just becomes a part of operations, and we report on operations,
Okay.
anytime. So yes, I would think that either sunset it when we actually finish the project, or do it now, given that we're so close. I just wanted to point that out.
But in the meantime, do you hold meetings? Anybody need to go if you hold a meeting?
What happened was we were not having meetings, and David was just passing it to me at the board meetings to give an update on the project. I can do that in my CEO update. I can still continue to do that. I'm perfectly fine.
I'm fine with,
Needing a
personally, I'm
formal
fine with
committee for
continuing
this,
that. So I'll make a motion that we do not assign a board member to this position and rely on Jeff to inform the board at the meetings, the current status.
Well, it kind of go under capital improvements, just like,
and that's what it is. It's
just
our
like the
biggest,
master booster
right.
pump station would be
Right.
under capital improvement.
It's our biggest capital improvement project.
Second.
Oh, okay, good.
So Stephanie can report on it.
So we have a motion, we have a second. We'll have a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So for the Santa Rosa Regional Reuse Project, Jeff Krigler will be our liaison and report on that. The Club at Hidden Creek Board Liaison.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a motion that Stephanie Lindsay be that liaison this year.
Do we have a second?
If she'll accept that, I think that'd be a great idea.
I'll accept.
Second.
We'll have a motion and a second. We'll have a vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So the new board liaison for the Club at Hidden Creek will be Stephanie Lindsay. And then we have a benefits committee that was approved last year. Do we have a motion for someone for
I'd
that?
say a few words about that too before y'all discuss it, if I may.
Okay, sure.
As the item states, this was approved to exist in September 2025. I've attached in this packet a draft of the kind of the roles and responsibilities or the scope of that committee's activities. Haven't finalized that. I'm planning on presenting that at the February board meeting. But I thought that it'd probably be good to go ahead and get a board member on board for that tonight. This won't change much. I think this can be finessed and the board can take a look at it and see what we really want this committee to do. But the kind of the full scope of those activities aren't set. We have a really good outline, but just wanted to point that out and encourage all the board members to read through this draft memo and just to see what that benefits committee is going to be all about.
Okay. I'll make a motion that Pam Hardy fill this position if she's willing to.
I'll second.
The
Are you
benefits.
interested in doing that?
Oh, yes. Yes, I will.
So we have a motion, we have a second. We'll have a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good. So our board liaison for the benefits committee will be Pam Hardy.
And this one, oh,
Moving on. Our trust board representative. Do we have a motion for that?
yes, I'll make a motion that we remove Mike Matthews from the representative list and add Carmen Reynolds. So it would be Carmen and Mark.
I'll accept that nomination.
Is Mark willing to continue?
I'm willing to continue. I think, the Fairpoint Board needs some consistency with it, and because it's a board made up of 3 water systems, so I'll accept that.
We have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. We have a vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So our board reps for FRUS will be Mark Miller and Carmen Reynolds.
And Mr. President, may I ask Director Miller a question?
Sure.
That meeting is tomorrow afternoon, correct?
Yes.
And the location, please?
Gulf Breeze?
Proper, their
City Hall,
City Hall.
3:30.
City
Yeah.
Hall.
You
Are we zooming from here, or are we all going?
I'll go in person, but y'all are comfortable, you can do whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Is there a meeting room there? City Hall?
There's a room similar to this, the city, their
Okay.
boardroom,
Council
City Hall.
chambers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, messy board rep. Do we have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion that it remains Rob Lowe if he's willing.
I'm fine with that.
I second it.
Great. We have a motion, we have a second. Can I have a vote? All those in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? So Rob Lowe, our representative for the messy board. Now we get into messy check signers. Again, we need a motion.
I make a motion that we remove David Crumbly and add Ken Ingram such that the signers wind up being Bill Phillips? What's this William guy? Is that the formal name?
Not even my
Oh.
mother calls me.
Bill Phillips, Jeff
I
Krigler,
can't help it.
Ken Ingram, and Rob Lowe.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second, and have a vote. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. So our check signers will be Bill Phillips, Jeff Krigler, Ken Ingram, Rob Lowe. Finally, the club at Hidden Creek check signers. Can I get a motion?
I motion to remove Dave Crumley, replace with Ken Ingram, remove Mark Miller, and replace with Stephanie Lindsay.
I have a second.
Second.
I have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So our check signers for the club will be Mr. Jeff Krigler, Clinton Wells, Ken Ingram, Stephanie Lindsay. Thank you for walking through all of this with us this evening. I see
Mr.
no-
President,
Yes.
I have 2 motions I would like to present tonight.
Okay.
Okay? All right, the first one, I move that the board approve engaging a qualified strategic planning consultant to facilitate a 3 to 5 year strategic plan for the water system, and direct staff to solicit proposals and present a recommended consultant and cost to the board for final approval. No matter how well intentioned we all bring personal perspective and histories. An independent consultant ensures the process is objective and not driven by any individual group.
So I'll second it for discussion. And my only discussion, I agree with what you said, Pam. My only discussion is, can we add an agenda item or can we do this tonight? That's, if it's a yes, then
It's a
I'm
real
fine.
board meeting.
Okay.
Do you have a timeline for that?
I
Do
was
you want it done
thinking,
within a certain timeline?
I was thinking maybe by our next meeting, February the, what, 17th?
You don't mean to hold the session, you mean to identify who's gonna do it?
Yes.
Yeah, I think.
Who's going to do it, the cost, and I think we kind of wanted to talk about them bringing it to the board. We discuss it as, and put our input into it and kind of do it that way. I think you had maybe did it like that in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I think there'll be a cost associated with it, and so I would be inclined to do this as long as you give Jeff enough time to,
Correct.
you know,
So-
and I know you've kind of already been looking into a facilitator of some
We've
kind.
done some
so-
searching. So my thoughts on this are we don't need someone that's going to come in and do this and then, write some humongous report. I think what we need is a facilitator, a skilled facilitator that can come in, understands our business, can lead the discussion, and then we can document that. I don't believe that we need a large report, but that's where your money comes in, is writing a big report at the end. I think we just need a good session so the directors can talk things out and we can memorialize that. That will assist in terms of us, keeping in line with the procurement policy and being able to come up with something quicker. But even then, I think we can try to have something by the February meeting to present. But once again, if we're just hiring a professional facilitator and you don't need to write a big report, it may not even rise to the dollar value of needing board authority. I would certainly still inform the board what we're doing, but, so
Is he
it's
gonna-
really what the board wants. What do y'all want us to do?
So what,
Is he going to have anything to work from or with?
We can provide him whatever background data he needs. There needs to be some prep beforehand to understand kind of where we're coming from on some things. I think any good facilitator would have some documents that they'd prep beforehand.
And I know where Ms. Hardy was going, but I did put a lot of time and effort, probably about a month's work, into drafting, I repeat, drafting a draft strategic plan. And I'm just curious as to whether the facilitator will be able to review any of that data or whether that will go in file 13.
So he'd receive a copy of that and be instructed to cover several, if not most of those items for discussion.
Thank
I
you.
mean, that's why you presented them, I presume.
two questions. I'm under the impression that, and I think one of you alluded to it, I mean, this has been done in the past. Do we have an old strategic plan from whenever Fred worked on it and helped the board? I mean,
They were
it'd be good
done.
if the facilitator had that, and it'd be good if we had that also, if you can find it.
I haven't seen a document. I've seen, proof that it happened and,
Oh,
board
okay.
agendas and stuff, but
All right.
I haven't seen a written one. Bill, I don't know if you remember
Okay.
one.
Then the
I know it
other-
happened, but I don't recall anything coming out of it.
All right.
Right.
The other question I had is, you mentioned having something at the next meeting. Do you mean just here's
Well,
who
I
we're
think-
thinking
I
of
think
and the
her-
cost?
yeah.
You're not talking about having the plan then, or?
Oh, heck no.
Okay.
This is
No,
figuring out who's going to facilitate it.
Okay.
I think her motion goes to finding someone to facilitate it. And I think my input was just what scope we want that person to do. I think we want some prep. We want to give them some information, have them facilitate a meeting, and then decide just how much work we want them to do after the fact.
Okay.
I think that's where you get, like I said, that's where you get into the money.
I had pretty much thought that the staff could go ahead and start looking and facilitate maybe three of them, bring to us the cost and their background or whatever, and let us decide all together who we would want to go with.
Yeah.
So the motion would need to specify that we're looking for a facilitator and the timeline that we expect management to bring that back to us, right?
Right. Right.
So you-
And I would think by the next,
At the February meeting.
yeah, February meeting, if you're just going to do that type of,
If it's a lesser scope and we don't have to fall under the, procurement policy where we have to go advertise something, I think we might be able to pull that off by then. But if we're putting a big document together and soliciting it, that takes longer.
And I'd like to see us, as soon as we have someone lined up to do this, that we get it on our schedule to do it. I don't think this is something that needs to get pushed out to April or May. I think.
Yeah, for
Either here.
for the benefit of some of the newer board members, sometimes we've done this on the tail end of the board training, which is coming up on February the 13th. The agenda for February 13th is looking pretty packed, so do we want to try to cram this into the last, 2 hours of Friday afternoon, is that going to be the best result? So I think maybe that's where Pam's going, is let's do something separate with a facilitator.
yes.
Maybe a half-day type session, half-day, full-day, however, whatever it ends up being. And I guess she maybe thinks that might be a better way to approach it. So that's what I'm hearing, so.
Exactly.
I would agree if that was the answer she provided. I've got the wrong ear pointed that way, but,
Okay.
yeah, I would easily expect it could go a half a day. So 2 hours, I wouldn't be in favor of setting. That's the time we're going to try and have it all
I
done.
agree.
Yeah, that was going to be my second, was on the half day.
So to further this discussion and to clarify your motion, the adults on this board, along with feedback from our operations head, our CEO, and our MESI experts, we can't get all of that together to save the members money to not have to get a facilitator? Is that what I'm hearing?
I feel we need a solicitor. We don't need one person from the board presenting our strategic plan, and especially.
Well,
when
not
that
one person
hasn't
is
worked
going
in
to
that
present the
facility.
strategic plan. That strategic plan, a strategic plan, is going to be owned by the entire board and input and agreed upon by the entire board.
Unfortunately, the strategic plan that was presented to us had a lot of flaws in it. And there was one particular item in there which had to do with the credit, giving back, and you and I think we had that discussion, to the members. According to our bylaws, that is not possible. And it's at the very top of the bylaws. And then the IRS tax laws specifically say that anything that's left over after you pay your expenses goes back into the business or the nonprofit to be distributed, such as ours, in infrastructure and other things.
Well, that could be removed from that, or at least have some discussion about it. But the bylaws and the articles of incorporation were written purposefully to eliminate, circumvent, and eradicate any capital distributions to the members and the membership that owned this nonprofit corporation. So, I mean, that was put in there for discussion, and that could be discussed and eliminated if necessary, but those two documents were written
Unfortunately, it would
purposefully.
have to be eliminated.
Those two documents were written purposefully to eliminate what the members are entitled to at some point, and when that point is certainly up for discussion.
Well, I don't think we need to get into the specifics of it tonight. I think, to Carmen's point, it's a question of, do we need to spend the money? And I think it would be money well spent if we, have a professional facilitator come in and do this. But let's see what it would cost.
Yeah, why don't you let me bring you those options and then we can answer that question.
Yeah.
All right, so Pam, I'm going to ask you to read yours again, please, with
Okay.
those changes. Right, we're talking about a facilitator, and you have a timeline in mind
Okay,
for
let's
presentation
see.
back to the board, right?
Yes, we decided to February the 17th. Is that correct?
Correct,
To bring the options for selection of a facilitator
exactly.
to the board.
Recommendations and cost.
Okay. So I move that the board approve engaging a qualified strategic planning consultant to facilitate a 3 to 5 year strategic plan for the water system, and direct staff to solicit proposals and present a recommended consultant and cost to the board for final approval on February the 17th. And then that's it. Okay.
I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second, we've had discussion. Any other discussion? We have a vote. Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Pam, you said you had a second?
I do. And I move that we extend the board training to 2 half-day sessions, and this would allow adequate time to thoroughly review and discuss the material provided in the resource manual. Spacing the sessions will allow members, especially the new ones, to review materials, reflect, and come back with informed questions rather than reacting in the moment.
I'll second it for discussion.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of discussion. I'm not opposed to it. I mean, do you,
I have a singular concern that's only addressed to me. I can't do any of this during the daytime. I would not be able to attend any daytime trainings. Which would be, I don't know if that's an overall detriment to the board, but I work 7 to 5 every day of the week.
short answer is a detriment, but if
Yeah.
it's nothing we can work around.
So I just want to throw that out there in case we can do it later in the day a couple times, or however, if that's a possibility. I don't want to infringe on everybody else's
Okay.
schedules either.
Director Hardy, could you restate the last half of your motion, something about in the
Yeah.
moment? I didn't quite hear the rest of it.
Okay, my motion was that the staff would come back to the board February the 17th with their information.
To 2 half-day sessions,
Oh, yeah, that one, okay. Yeah, 2 half-day sessions.
which would eliminate what? The,
And discuss the materials provided in the resource manual. And the reason why I say that is because there's a lot of stuff in there that some of the board members do not abide by. And so I just feel like maybe some of those areas in the training manual, we need to go over those a little bit more, so that we all understand what our role is as a board member.
do you want to be specific now, or is that going to be reviewed at that time?
I can review it at that time. I already have everything marked that I want to discuss.
Okay, thank you.
I guess in my mind, is that training for the staff, or is that more of a discussion between the board?
It's training for the board, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, training for the board.
That the staff needs to be involved in, or is that discussion amongst the board on what Pam feels are not procedures being followed?
No, I'm just discussing. I'm not just saying I'm the one that's going to be leading it. But in those areas, I might just kind of bring it up,
And does that require staff to be there?
require the staff. I don't know how yet they do it.
Usually the board trainings, I'll be there, Emerald will be there, and we have certain staff members come in and out depending on the subject. I think what she's getting at is, do we need one half day, or do we need 2, I think is the question.
Well, I think
What I'm hearing.
the motion is we want 2.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm understanding what you're not talking about, you're gonna bring packet
Oh,
material
no,
that you
no,
want.
no, no, no.
Okay, then.
No,
then I'm
I
good.
just have some.
So I will offer, when I did that 4 years ago, it was packed. I mean, it was fast.
A lot of
It
information.
was under a different CEO, and a different, well, I wasn't pleased with it, so I personally am fine with 2 half days.
And I haven't finalized the agenda. I'll be going over it with Ken and the rest of the board here soon when I get a draft together, but, I mean, there's a good bit of information to cover.
Okay, without knowing what's going to be covered, if it's anything like 4 years ago, it's a lot of information, and I'm fine with 2 half days. But unfortunately, unlike Rob, I'm in a position where I can.
Well, they were gonna, yeah, right. Their 10 will be scheduled for the morning, so he would not be able to. But the other thing, we would have the flexibility, you could do the first half day, get into the second half day, and get through all the material, let y'all out by 10. I mean, I think we have that
Could we do them at
flexibility.
night? Or is it just
Uh,
doable to do during the day?
We've just traditionally done them in the morning. We can do, you can do whatever you want, and I'll be there.
And do we have hourly employees that participate in this training session? The board? My concern is overtime.
Your salary? All salary.
Our board attorney is usually present for the,
I think
Right.
part of the thought, I don't know, it just seems like you might get a more productive session to go from 8 to noon than 6 to 10 o'clock at night, I think people start to fade after 8 or 9 o'clock. I know that's what happens to me at those long commission meetings. It's hard to, but if everyone, if y'all want to do that, I'm
Well,
fine with it.
at this point, we have a motion to extend training from 1 day to 2 days.
2 half-day sessions.
I have a second, so can we have a vote on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I believe,
Opposed?
Nay.
I believe we're talking about the 12th and the 13th without scheduling officially, but we were talking about the 13th, so if we're adding a day, it would make sense to add the 12th, in my opinion.
I wasn't sure that's what I heard Pam say.
I
I thought the motion, not the Pam. I thought the motion included the thought of, we're gonna get thrown a lot of stuff, need some time in between to come back with some real questions.
Oh,
And that might not be the next
That's
day.
what yes, that's
two
what I thought.
separate.
Two completely
Two separate,
separate
yeah.
sessions. So we're scheduled for the 13th, so we would need to schedule another one for
Okay,
after
so
that.
maybe I'll craft the agendas in such a way that the topics on the 13th kind of go together, and the topics on the following one, maybe those all go together for, I'll give that some thought.
And, Mr. President,
Yes.
and what I heard
Carmen.
was that we need to add another thing to our schedules. If we're doing our work up here, we're pretty busy between meetings and commitments. Those of us that are busy in the community, we've got additional commitments to deconflict as well. And what I heard was that it's going to be kind of a take some of us to the woodshed kind of session, because I didn't get any clarification on what some of these things were. So that was my interpretation of what I heard, Director Hardy, and I see them over here chuckling. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay.
I don't think we have any woodshed.
Okay.
Do we have any other new business?
I have a statement that I'd like to read, and I would like it on record, please. If that's okay, Mr. President.
Go right ahead.
Okay, I am deeply concerned about recent public communication circulated by a nonprofit organization. A clean sweep of the most recent election and asserting that they now lead the Holly Navarre water system. The water system is not led by any outside organization, political group, or incorporation effort. It is governed by this board, our members collectively under our bylaws and for a single purpose, providing reliable, affordable water service to this community. While I repeatedly hear calls for transparency, I have not seen transparency from those promoting an external agenda, specifically the Incorporation of Navarre, about how that agenda intersects with this water system. The water system should never be used or perceived to be used as a vehicle to advance a separate political or incorporation effort. The community deserves clarity on whether board members have affiliations, objectives, or commitments that extend beyond the water system itself, and how many such affiliations are being managed to avoid conflicts of interest or divided loyalties. I also want to acknowledge that the founders of this water system had the foresight to put bylaws and safeguards in place to protect it from outside capture and to ensure stability and legal integrity. Those protections exist for a reason, and this board has a responsibility to respect and uphold them. My position is simple. The Holly Navarre water system must remain focused on water service, not political movements, incorporation strategies, or other outside agendas. Decisions here must be made transparently and ethically and with the full community in mind, not declared as victorious by any private organization. For this reason, I have two motions I'd like to present. And the first one is I move that the board direct counsel or qualified governance staff to draft a formal ethics and conflict of interest policy for the Holly Navarre water system. requiring disclosure of outside affiliations, recusal from votes where a personal or organizational interest exists, and an explicit prohibition on using water system resources, authority, or position to advance external political, incorporation, or advocacy agendas, with the draft policy to be presented to the board for consideration at a future meeting.
I'll second for discussion. We have a conflict of interest form, I thought, already. Does it not cover? So that would be the first question, is does that cover what she's saying? I don't remember what all's
We need
in
to
it.
look at it. I
Okay.
don't have it committed to memory.
Not specifically having to do with the affiliation with other groups, political groups, and especially when it concerns the board as far as incorporation goes, or advocacy agendas, which I feel with some of the stuff that has come out and some of the things that have been said, like a clear sweep of the Holly Navarre water system, that scares me. It really concerns me. So I feel like if we had something in writing saying that someone on this board is not going to deviate or facilitate in any kind of dealings such as that, I would feel comfortable if they would sign it saying that.
So Ms. Hardy, you are familiar with the current
I am.
interest, so you don't feel that Article 2, Section 3 handles that? And so you're specifically asking that Article 2, Section 3 be modified in some way to specifically call out political organizations?
Right.
Would that include the Republican Party or the Democratic Party?
Yeah,
or
that's
any
kind of
other
what my
political
thought
party?
process is. Everyone on this board is affiliated with
Right.
organizations. I don't know that I don't think that's gonna change. I don't know that that's,
It's hard to start
yeah.
choosing a particular political party that we want to call out, isn't it?
No, I don't feel like it.
I think I would defer to our legal counsel on whether or not that's even legal.
Mr.
Okay.
President, I'd like to make a comment.
Certainly.
Director Hardy, I was approached on Saturday at the Citizens Public Community Meeting about the very thing you're talking about. I had not seen it. I was appalled at the terminology, and there's a difference between what an individual did and the leap to what might be thought is going on. But I will state categorically, from my position, their incorporation is dead, D-E-A-D, dead. It does not belong up here. It does not belong intertwined up here or inextricably linked up here. From my perspective, what I do for the water system is to make the water system better and to acquire more customers for this water system for the members. That is my charge personally. I believe that everyone else up here thinks similarly, and to throw shade on the new members, that they're going to have to sign conflict of interest statements if they already haven't. And I don't believe there is any move afoot to drag incorporation into this, or that there's any subterfuge going on other than the work we have at hand. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Carmen.
Any
Director
other
Reynolds.
discussion?
Okay. I have been told recently by a member of the Preserve Navarre that the corporation was when it was presented to the legislature, the reason why incorporation was denied, was not approved, was because there was not a water system in place. And that was just a few weeks ago. And that, when I saw that, and that's what with West Siler, that's what really, and also, he had put you as in with that group. Not the group for the incorporation, I'm talking about West Siler. And what in his emails, Carmen Reynolds, now she has other members who,
I have not seen that email.
I can
you
read it to
send
you.
that to me,
Yeah.
please?
I think incorporation didn't happen because it got voted down by a wide margin.
Resoundingly.
Yeah.
yes, but it can go to the legislature with an application and you don't need a vote
And
if it's
that,
approved.
and that is not going to happen. This board will not be used for political purposes.
That's my concern. That's the reason why I brought that up. That is my concern.
Okay, any more discussion?
Yes. I don't have any problem signing, I don't have any problem signing any kind of conflict of interest form that our legal counsel says this is valid, this is responsible and appropriate for the Holly Bar Water System Board of Directors. So that would have to be the case for me to vote yes on this motion.
And Mr. President, you mentioned my name, so if I could, we would be able to look at your current ethics and conflict of interest and present that. It will be one of the topics that we discuss at our February the 13th training, and by that time, we would be able to brief you on whether, there was any changes that might be necessary to accommodate Director Hardy's point. But to your point specifically, I can tell you that we would be very hesitant to recommend to you to put in place a policy which required you to disclose political affiliations. That would be, there would be no conflict between having a political affiliation and your ability to independently act as a board member of the Holly Navarre water system, because again, the Holly Navarre water system is a private corporation. It's not a governmental entity.
I agree, thank you.
Thanks, Will. Apologize for not using your name.
No, I understand. I'm still on the org chart.
Any other discussion? So we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay.
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 Nay. I was just confused as to what we were voting on, I'm sorry.
Well, I don't know well, do we need a motion for Will to do what he just talked about?
No.
Okay.
And
So
and
I'm,
as I just heard, that's part of the training on the 13th.
okay, so
That's correct.
So I'm back to, I'm certainly not going to vote for that motion until we hear from Will first as to what we can or can't do. I'm not,
If I
I
if
do
I
not
could be
mean
clear,
to belittle the intent. I'm just
I
saying.
know, I understand.
Okay.
Mr.
Okay,
President,
go ahead.
if I could understand, didn't I hear you call a vote, and didn't I hear that vote was a nay?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. So we will address the issue during the training on February the 13th of your current ethics and conflict of interest. And from that discussion, you can make whatever decisions that you need to make.
Thank you. Ms. Hardy, was there anything else?
No, that's all. Thank you. I'll just, I'll find out the other one.
Okay. Any other new business for tonight?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Amen.
Adjourned.
Dr. Streaming.
Pam, yes, you have that in writing, you have that in writing at your desk,
Which one?
the,
The email,
that you're referring to, do you have that in
Yeah,
writing?
I have it right here, I just pulled it out.
Be commanded to